our wonderful viewers, and welcome to your darling station, the Living TV. Today is another wonderful edition of Nigeria Today. Nigeria Today is a current affairs program of the Living TV, where we discuss current affairs. Today, I have discussants who are loaded and also very, very informed with, and also very conversant with the happenings and happenstances of this great country, Nigeria, and our various states. From my far left, I have St. Dennis Ubani. St. Dennis Ubani is a practicing journalist and also a lecturer with Abia State Polytechnic. St. Dennis Ubani, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me. Hello, Nigeria.
And also after him, I have Honorable Tony Abanyim. Honorable Tony Abanyim is a media person and also a public affairs analyst. Honorable Tony, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you, viewers.
All right, today, let's start with the federal government. While presenting the 2023 budget before the joint session of the National Assembly, His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari said low revenues, high inflations, exchange rate depreciation, and insecurity are among the issues affecting Nigeria. He claimed that despite continuing efforts, unemployed, underemployment, and poverty rates remain high in this country. Let me start with you, Honorable Dennis. For Mr. President to have accepted that unemployment, insecurity, underemployment, that remain high, and also that they have done, from what he's saying, they've done all they are supposed to do to ensure that these things are out, and then nothing is done yet. What do you think about that?
Yeah, only one thing comes to my mind. He ought to have resigned before now. For the president to admit that they have done everything despite all the promises they made to Nigeria and made to the whole world, and nothing, not even one has been achieved, he ought to have resigned. And I'm so glad that on the floor of the Senate, His Excellency Senator Abaribe had once suggested that we should go and stone them, because that's what they said. They said if they fail in 6 months, they don't tackle some of this and that they should be stoned. And I wonder why nobody has really, all these human rights fighters have not done anything. Now, if you look at all the promises they made, ab initio, not one. Is it security? We are not safe on the road. We are not safe in our houses. We are not safe when we rise up. We are not safe anywhere. There's no security. Not even in the area of food. There's no food security. There's no security anywhere at all. I don't want to conclude by saying that this is the worst government, but let us go by what the president has said himself. They have failed woefully. Nigerians should not make the same mistake we have made this time. It's really, really a very big problem.
Honorable Tony, before you come in, I also want to look at the statement, because the president also added that they are currently implementing several skills development programs and work opportunity programs to enhance the unemployability, or rather to enhance the employability of the youths of Nigerians, and also tackle other troubling issues, that they are doing everything possible. Then the questions, how once having lasted for 7 years, and then what do we expect from this government?
Well, we've all been here, and we've seen it all. To the best of my knowledge, Nigeria is one of the easiest countries to govern in the world. What happens here can't happen anywhere. Can you try what is going on here in the Middle East, in Asia, even in our neighboring countries here, call it Cameroon and all the rest of them, Ghana? We can't try it because they know that we swallow, we stomach anything. That's why somebody will have an 8 years opportunity to fix what he said has failed, and less than 8 months to go, and he's telling us this whole story. Well, to me, I can say that what he promised that he has done. He said change. He will bring in change to to Nigeria, and we were in a hurry, probably because some of us thought Jonathan has failed. What he's supposed to do, he couldn't do. Jonathan, as a man who belongs to this constituency, what I call the constituency of the complainants, who is from the poorest of the poor, who never had shoes to go to school, who couldn't have gone to school if not the scholarship because of his scholarship he enjoyed because of where he comes from, the Nigeria Delta area. He couldn't do anything. During his time, Buhari just a little bit surpassed him for ASU being on strike for 8 months. During his own time, ASU was also on strike for 6 months. As a classroom teacher, somebody who was writing on the board, a classroom teacher, that could have been the best time everybody teacher from nursery to crèche.
Understands the plight of
Yes,
teachers and
he could have set a template, but at the end of the day, he failed. You can imagine somebody who also, his mother, is just a peasant farmer, fisherwoman, so to speak. Jonathan should have known the suffering of Nigerians and couldn't do anything. Fitted away 6 good years. So this man said he's coming to fix the place, bringing a change to us, and we believed him. Because this man, who knows where it is pinching us, as a poor man, our fellow poor man, couldn't do nothing. So we believed Buhari, thinking that the man we knew in 1983 or 84 is actually coming to fix things, because he came, some of the disciplinary practices we put up today was brought by him, like queuing, behind anybody that came before you in the bank and all that. Buhari and the Diabo came and introduced it. So we thought that the man is bringing the same thing to the table, and he said change. We couldn't take time to ask him, Oga, define the change. And today, look at the change. Everything has changed. Tell me what has not changed. By this time last year, a loaf of bread was 500 naira. Today, it's close to 1,200. 1,000. You can imagine that. So tell me, a bottle of kerosene is now 1,000 naira and, going up. Dollar is overlooking 1,000. So many things. So, no, just like my brother said here, security has flopped completely. You can now imagine our lecturers are now negotiating whether to go back to being forced. They are now being compelled by the judiciary, the same judiciary that are also asking for a better welfare. They are not giving judgment against, those that are also, he that goes to the equity should go with clean hands. So we are waiting for the judiciary one day to tell us that their welfare should be improved. So it's a matter of total collapse, total failure. And
I think, Dennis, before we go, before you add to what he said, it is also important to add this to it, because I think the Aisha Buhari made a statement that will enable Nigerians to shield their sword. Recently, Aisha Buhari apologized to Nigerians over the harsh economic realities and insecurity experienced under the administration of Buhari.
Yeah, well, I really think, let me start from where he stopped. What happened was that, in fact, we were scammed. Nigerians were scammed. Buhari scammed us. Because if we need to, they say, if you want to solve a problem, you look beyond the immediate situation. Let's go back to when he was military president. What happened? Let's go back to when he was Minister of Petroleum. I think that was under Obasanjo.
Yes.
We have this record. It's even on public domain. The man has never had anything. He has never meant good. He has never understood what it means to be in public leadership. When he was military head of state, what was he doing? He was jailing people, killing people anyhow. We didn't listen. And you did mention discipline. I disagree. I think it was Idiabo. The late
Idiabo was the 2IC, so
yeah, it was good.
So he can shine more than his principal.
Yeah,
so
but
even though he was a very disciplined person,
yeah, he was. It has never been Buhari. That's what we're saying. That he was the one that even jailed all this Nadeko leadership for speaking out. It's not fair. We should have known what he did on national television. I don't want to say that he stole money when he was Minister of Petroleum, but I won't say that since we're national television.
How can he steal money? The man who owned 200 cows for 10 years.
Yeah, okay. So,
no,
he didn't.
Where did he get the money? Where did he keep the money? So.
No, we all know what happened. We all know what happened. And coming to what you said about Aisha Buhari, I really feel really disappointed. Is it not the same Aisha Buhari that opened up to Nigerians and said, come and take back your country? It's not the same Aisha Buhari who was telling us that the man there is not her husband. Why would she now come to tell us? In fact, I read that statement you are referring to. She was now asking Nigerians to still vote for APC again. And they say once beaten, twice shy. And you
I think she's apologizing because you refused to take back your Nigeria.
Okay, she's apologizing and she's asking us to go back to the same experience. It's really very, very bad. I don't think Nigerians will listen to that call.
Before we go ahead, it is important to note that whatever opinion here has nothing to do with the Living TV of the organization. It is entirely a personal opinion. And having said that, the Abia State government says the protest by area traders is politically motivated. Honorable.
Okay, you asked the right person. Because between 1999 and 2002, I was elected to represent area, the market and its environment. And the problem there is, a two-way thing. It is not just the government. The traders also contributed to the problem. Those in government also contributed to it. Oji Carlo, who was the governor then, and the former local government chairman, Eme Abalemba, all of them, it was a collective, like when we went to the tribunal to see how we can impeach a member. The tribunal chairman then, Barrister Odochukwu, in his ruling, summary, that in government, there is no vicarious liability, and all of us, we are scampering to get interpretation, whether the judgment was against or for. So when we came home, we were told that vicarious means collective responsibility. You are even, as long as you are part of that system and you looked the other way, and anything goes wrong, you are part of it. So that the members stole money alleged to have stolen money from the council while you are a councillor. You are supposed to be the watchdog. You are part of it.
He should have been impeached.
That's the thing, So at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is that as the councillor of that ward, I went to the market myself, climbed on the table, addressing the traders, telling them that the man who constructed this market, there's Sambakwe, had something in his mind by allowing these trees at the middle of the shop, shops, the big gutters and all that, the median, where the big waters can now go through. At the end of the day, they refused and demanded that those shops, those gutters should be blocked, that they need shops. Those trees in area were all brought down. And money we are carried to Wake and the member and all the rest of them. At the end of the day, who is suffering? What they could have done if it is where things works. That's why I said it is a two-way, responsibility. The government should have asked them to do something. Probably get a memo, let us relocate the market, or part of the market should be relocated to somewhere. Because by 1983, 82, I was very little then, we live around there. Nobody wants to come to our area because it is seen as den of criminals. Nobody wants to go to Mule. Go there today where you can buy a plot of land at 10 million. Development. What government should have done is to relocate, either to relocate area completely or some of the lines that relocate them so that it will have, a real modern replanning. But they couldn't do it. They were busy building shops up and down and all that. So today, everybody is suffering it. So what is happening today is what they could have done earlier than now. The rebuilding of the construction of airline should have come earlier than now. But the traders were agitating. They said they would not allow it to go. At the end of the day, they were forced to accept. And look at what is going on there. The contractors are very slow. Governments are trying to do their bit. The market has been overtaken by flood. And it is something I don't know how to describe. If I were to be the governor, the best thing they could have done is not to allow that market to be there. If I am the governor of Abia State today, my first announcement on radio will be to relocate all the markets in Aba. That is how this town developed. Shopping center has no business being there. It will leave. Ahiohoro has no, this one they are doing now, they want to reconstruct Ahiohoro. That is mere waste of time. Let Ahiohoro start heading down to Ubingwa, heading to Ariaria. Let Ariaria leave that place and start heading to Ugunabo, going to Okwa. You understand? Abamen Park has nothing been here. It should have left down up there at Osioma Tollgate area so that the town will develop. You can see. So what I'm trying to say is that it is, to the best of my knowledge, this is politics, political time, campaigns. Oppositions can also come in and see how they can cash in on one or two on doing of government and they campaign against the bet. What I'm saying is that whether opposition is coming into it or not, government should be focused and have a decisive decision on what to do with the area.
All right, St. Dennis, you had the announcement, maybe even this morning, it was in the news as well, that this is a political motivated protest. Before that, before you say anything, remember that last year the government announced that the area will be ready by September. Last year. And this is about a year now. So do you think or agree with the fact that this thing was politically motivated?
If I was to sum what happened in one word, I would say it's lack of leadership. We lack leadership. I agree partly with what Honorable Tony said, but then I will still bring it back to lack of leadership, because if you have a leadership that can take decisive measures, this thing would have been sorted out. One, they are the ones in power. They call the shots. People can only protest. At the end of the day, the government will still have its way. All right? So if they want to fix area market, they could have done it. Now, how is this thing politically motivated? You knock down people's shops. You didn't do anything. No palliative, nothing at all. And how many months to the end of your tenure? They come to say, we have been waiting for you over a year. You say it's politically motivated. How? Well, if I was a governor, what I would do is not really to shift the markets like Honorable Tony said. What I would have done is to develop more markets. That way, the existing market will still be there, and then we use the new markets to develop those areas. Because if they go to a new area, you find out that everything about the area will start developing. So we won't close down this one. You won't put away the baby and the dirty water. And you won't put them all away. What we do, there's some Bakwe started from nothing. Look at where he got us. If we have had any leadership, that's why I keep saying lack of leadership. They would have done something. Must we continue on the same structure there's some Bakwe did then? Which I would have wanted to ask which governor since that time has developed new markets, new roads. We're talking about maintaining existing structure. It's difficult. Look at Fox Road. Look at how many times have they worked on that Fox Road? It's still the same way. You can't pass through there today. I drove through that market yesterday, and I spoke part of my car. But this is a road that some Bakwe built how many decades ago? So I think it's lack of leadership, because if we had a leadership that had the interests of our people in mind, we would have gone long beyond this. What we're seeing is political gimmicks. They will do this thing until probably May next year. They pass it over to another government, but God forbid that any government, any leadership tied to these people should come into power. Otherwise, we'll die in the same problem.
Okay. Honorable Tony, I know that you are a member was elected. I don't know whether it was under PDP, but I know.
Yeah, PDP. I'm a founding member.
Okay, yes. One of the founding members of the party.
So we're not praying that they continue. I'm telling you.
God forbid.
Don't you think that something would have been done? And then when you talk about governance and leadership, I think one thing that is very paramount is the ability to keep to promises. And then compare the promise made to these people last year and what is happening and the protest. Is it right to beat a child and ask the child not to cry?
Not at all. What I'm saying is there should be genuineness in this whole consultation. Okay. Everybody should remove self, immediate gain. That is what has been our problem. There should be a long-term plan about markets generally, about development of our bus still remain the same way Mbakwe left it. No one stone. Even though, my party, the government of my party has been fixing one or two roads that were abandoned by other.
Now, what are those roads still like?
The point is a societal problem, my brother. If we start discussing that today, we may not live here, because the elections are here again. Yes. And the culture of is back again. And at the end of the day, no politician is a Father Christmas. Wherever you spend your money, you're a businessman, even though you're a teacher. Wherever you invest your money, definitely you look for a recoup, isn't it? So, if the culture of should be let go, I think 2023 will have a new platform altogether. We'll come up with a clean slate and get things right. So, what I'm trying to say is that the traders in Ariara market should, pipe low, because in Aibo balance, we say and Kita Talata. So they did has been done. So what they have to do is to now see how they can, get the government to speed up the reconstruction of that market, and they get back to their shops, even though it has been very hard for them. But I've been there severally. That was my political base. That's where I started, and whatever thing that affects them definitely is directly on me. I feel for them. I have a little shop there. I wonder if my tenants will look my way this period, because I need some money this period, and I don't know how to face them to start asking about money.
How would they make the money they will give you?
So that's the problem.
When their goods are being carted away by flood.
So it should be, we should feel for each other. There should be that empathic kind of approach. Even though you are not a trader in the market, but put yourself in the shoes of that man there, who probably, let me tell you one thing that happens to the area market. You get to a young man's shop, you see all kinds of fancy clothes, those imported shoes, bags, and all that. He is not the owner of that money. Somebody imported, and he carried to sell and return the money in 2 weeks. You understand? Yes. If you get there, size him up with that shop, you may think he has anything, kept there. Nothing. None of them is his own. So the traders, I sympathize with them, and I also want my party, the government in power, the governor of the state, to see what he can do, and if possible, set up what I can call a task force. You understand? To push that reconstruction, make it faster. Put up a task force. Well-meaning people, not people that will go there and try to get their own shops, fix somewhere. That stuff. Because one shop in airline is over 10 million naira. So you know what it means if you get one. Just get selfless men of integrity to form that task force. The Commissioner for Trade and Investment will find supervising, but there should be a watchdog that will be reporting back to the governor directly. If that is done, I think the issue of our area will be solved. Selfless people.
Yeah, but then we see this government demonstrate that commitment, that political will to finish this project, given the fact that almost every road they started have been abandoned. So many.
No, they're ongoing. Let me tell you.
They're ongoing. This is grammar.
Don't worry. It's a matter of will. We are talking about will here.
Yes.
Yes, with political will. I want to tell you that.
Have they presented anything?
I was at Azikiwe and I was shocked how the place was rehabilitated and what is going on there. It's a matter of will. If the governor wants to fix that Fox Road in 2 weeks, he will do it.
So that's what we're talking.
So that's what
have they presented.
That's the essence of what we are doing here.
Yeah.
And I want to tell you, that media works magic. You understand? What we are doing here can steer the governor to start doing something immediately. And none of those roads he started has been abandoned. Ongoing, there has been this drainage between number Port Harcourt Road down to the express.
That is where
work is ongoing.
This language,
work is ongoing on
this language ongoing.
Yeah.
It can be ongoing till the next administration comes in.
No.
Go to Port Harcourt.
Government is a continuing.
You keep talking about Ungwa Road. Yeah. What is Ungwa Road like?
But today it's fixed.
You talk about.
Is it not fixed?
You talk
Nobody
about.
believes it.
No. It's fixed. To what extent?
No.
It's still ongoing.
Okay, no, Ungwa Road is concluded. No,
it's not. If you say
go there and see it. Yes, it is. Go there yourself.
I went to buy something on Ungwa Road just recently, and I noticed maybe from that Port Harcourt Road as is, it's okay, it's super. But go down.
Down to the bridge is fixed. We can go right now after this program.
You are just talking about Ungwa Road, the major road. What about the connecting roads?
It should be fixed. It's just a matter of the contractors getting their.
When the next administration comes.
No. We have time. It can be done in 2 weeks, 1 week.
Gentlemen, that's the much we're going to take on that. We also know how it is with our various families and know that governance is not also very easy. But we are saying that let the needful be done. It is important. All right. INEC says 95 million voters will elect Nigerian president come 2023. 95 million. I'm starting with you, St. Dennis. 95 million out of about 200 million persons.
That's a good number.
Well, just like Honorable Tony said off camera, it's a huge number. But we found out even with what they said, at the end of the day, we won't have up to that day that will turn up on the day of election. That's why we have a lot of doubt. Okay, we also heard recently that they said about 1.95 million Nigerians who did double registration, will not be allowed to vote. And that is actually where I have my fears. because it seems as if this thing is schemed or skewed towards a particular candidate. You know that majority of the people who turned out to vote lately were doing that as a result of the mass movement started by the so-called obedience. People suddenly realized they owe that obligation to go and register. And then we're now told that somebody who had the fears that my name may not have been captured or my former registration may not be there, and you say you can't vote. Where does that happen? What they could have done is to make sure that these people don't do double voting. And it's so very simple to enforce. You are using electronic voting system. Once somebody votes once, it will register, and they can block it. Not to say the person cannot vote. And a lot of the people who registered in Abuja, their PVC were discovered in Lagos. Those who registered in Lagos, their PVCs were discovered in Ibadan. You see, it does look as if INEC is playing double standard. Now they tell us 95 million. We're not even sure at the end of the day. People may turn up that day, they tell you that the system cannot recognize that registration. But in any case, if we're able to get, even if it's 70 million turn up that day, it's enough. It's enough to elect any credible candidate. I think the candidates' campaign have started in earnest. So if the candidates work hard, what happens at the day is what is your market share of that population? Not really the number. Is what population do you have out of that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and Honorable Tony, do you think, talking about the 95 million, it is spread across all the geopolitical zones of this country?
Yes, actually, because the 95 million is about the entire nation, regionally, state-wise, and all that. We know that a large chunk of it is coming from the north. And just like my brother said, a good number of people, particularly the youths, came out this time to get themselves registered. But I want to tell you that no matter how little an offense it is an offense. Yes. For you to have gone to register twice, you've committed even a prison level offense. So you should be knocked off. No matter, even if it is my mother, let her not vote.
I also want us to look at it from this perspective. It's true that ignorance of the law is no excuse. Assuming someone had lived in Abuja and then relocated down here, those of them who were in the north because of this carnage and insecurity, and who relocated back to their various states and then had to re-register.
They said you have to. The law says you do transfer. That's what the INEC guideline says. You do transfer of registration.
You did the transfer with the court, or you did the transfer with
there and then.
You can wait in the office, okay? That's accepted.
Yes.
But we are saying they have the competence, they have the equipment to block the earlier registration. Yes. They have the capacity. The equipment they have can easily do that. If somebody has registered another one, you cancel the earlier registration.
That knockoff is for the new registrants, not those that are transferring, that are changing base and all that. It's for new registrants. Somebody who may have thought that, this is, let me see, maybe this one I did here may not work, let me do the other side. At the same time, within the same period. No, they are the ones knocked off.
A particular person may not understand the process of this transferring, and then decides to register.
You ask questions. You have to ask questions.
No, but I still maintain that INEC has that capacity and competence to delete an earlier registration. It's as simple as that.
What I said is not a matter of deleting you. It is an offense you committed and should be punished. But how small it is, and that is what they've got.
And the punishment is
knocking you off, not to vote. Yes.
No. All right, Charlie. Before we go on break, the indigenous people of Biafra has condemned the recent reported release from Ikoyi Custody Center of about 101 members of the Boko Haram by the federal government, and demands a release of Nnamdi Kanu.
Well, it's so sad. It appears we have one country, two sets of laws. You notice that a situation where you have clearly pronounced terrorists, and government is entering into this kind of dialogue with them, is sad. And then IPOB, which they hurriedly prescribed, did not do 1% what the Boko Haram, which internationally is recognized as the second most deadly platform, of terror upon the face of the earth. They will enter into this kind of negotiation, while some people who were just going along the road shouting they want freedom, you proscribe them and then you clap them in jail. That's still their rotting. They will not release them. It's so sad. And some of us also feel disappointed that if a body of the World United Nations will say, release this man within this time frame, they've not done that, and then pay him adequate compensation. They've not done that. And releasing, who does that? And you know what is sad is that even these terrorists force had their people released before the government will reciprocate, or before they will release those captured in the Kaduna, Abuja, strengthen. Who does that? You remember the leader at the time they released either his wife and children or something? I think I'm right.
Yeah.
And then even some money. And we also know that, we've been told that a lot of people in governance may be tied or benefiting from this arrangement. When the people who were captured...
As alleged.
Yes, as alleged. When some of the people who were captured there were asked to talk, they said that, no, the terrorists themselves were saying that they know what they are asking for, that it wasn't false. They know what they are asking for. So I think that the idea of releasing these people and then at the same time holding somebody, the international world, the international community have said release, it is soon going to put Nigeria pariah with the rest of the civilized world. Because if they continue beyond a certain period of time, you see that they will start to clamp down on Nigeria. First, our leadership will not be allowed to probably fly over the world. Next, they may start going into our economy. Nobody will buy our petroleum. And before you know it, Nigeria would really enter into a serious problem.
Honorable Tony, your take on that?
Well, what I want to say is that the civil war has not ended. The Igbo man is an endangered species in the Nigerian space, Nigerian states. So I sympathize with our brothers who are yet to understand our status in this country. But let me also tell you about the Boko Haram terrorists that we are released. You know, there are no employment in Nigeria. Government is no longer employing people. Companies are not employing. Somebody who graduates from the university today and they ask him to apply, and they tell you if the condition is 3 years experience. So from the point he picked the application paper, he has lost the job.
Yeah, of course.
So there are no jobs, and the terrorists, the leaders of the terrorists are busy employing people. You know, so my brother, if the business you will embark on, and you come the next day with $1,000, and you were told that if you die, you are going to heaven. On getting there, 7 virgins, it is said, I don't know, 7 virgins untouched.
72.
72 virgins.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Where would I go? So that's why you have a good number of them. So some of the boys that joined them didn't even know what they were doing. You know. So at the end of the day, if you are caught by your opponents, you know, your enemies, then your enemies will play a soft one on you, you know, pamper you, reorientate you.
So to say.
You know, so to say. Pay you salaries. If you are interested in going to school, they send you abroad. Or they reintegrate you into Nigerian army, we were told. So, my brother, if I live in the north, I will join you.
In fact, someone has said
Yes.
that it should be included in the indices used in measuring growth in Nigeria.
Yes.
In fact, it should be the second most lucrative industry in Nigeria.
That's the thing.
Kidnapping.
All right, viewers, there is no excuse for any form of crime.
Actually.
Yeah, there is no excuse at all.
I'm no longer young, so I can join. I'm 50.
We'll be going on a very short break. When we return, Nigeria Today continues.
Oh yeah. I want to know. Yes, I want to know. Which way Nigeria is heading to. Which way Nigeria. Which way Nigeria. Which way to go. Which way to go. I love my fatherland. Oh yeah. I want to know. I want to know. Which way Nigeria is heading to. Many years after independence, we still find it hard to start. How long shall we be patient before we reach the promised land? Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't die. Which way Nigeria? Which way? Which way Nigeria? Tell me. Which way to go? I love my fatherland. Oh yeah. I want to know. Yes, I want to know. Which way Nigeria is heading to. Every little thing that goes wrong, we start to.
I'm glad you're still there watching Living TV. We're back on Nigeria Today. Okay, we stopped at the indigenous people and you had the discussions. All right. INEC says insecurity may hamper elections in North, West, and Southeast. Do we have such insecurity in the Southeast to hamper elections on 2023?
Actually, there are areas in Anambra and the Olu area. I'm from Olu. For over 2 years, I didn't go to my village.
Even as we speak?
Yeah, just a few months ago, I went to celebrate my mother's birthday. Last September, that was when I went to the village. Nobody goes there, particularly when there is anything like government around you. You know, your green plate and official cars and all that. You don't try it within that Olu and Anambra area. There's an area in a place in Ihiala. During the Soludo's election, they were told to forget about the place. Don't even try to come there. And they said, okay, it's a matter of a spread. We've gotten what we want that can make us declare the election, the result. And they did. So INEC is right. They've done a very clinical investigation to know that there are areas that are, that poses a serious threat to the election. So it's a matter of coming to the table to say, okay, can we go ahead without those areas? Because nobody can afford to, the youth corps and the ad hoc staff of INEC, to go to those areas and die for nothing. Where after the election, you struggle to get, the stipend they pay. Probably in 6 months, you've not gotten it. And by the time it will be paid, just give you, if you have no choice now, there's hunger in the land. If your money is 15,000, you are given 9,000, say, okay, I can cook a pot of soup with it. Let them take the rest. So it is not worth dying for. So they have to tell us how to go about it. Okay. Because when they say North, West, it means the entire nation is in trouble. So that's it.
Okay, St. Dennis, and are you thinking with the promises of Mr. President that nothing, could be done?
What you should have asked me is how reliable is the promises of Mr. President? Because it does look like everything he promised us, he never kept. He has not kept to anyone. So when Mr. President promises, I will want to look at it critically. But in terms of the security challenges, I think they are real. They are real. I know that even during the INEC registrations, I think close to where he mentioned in Olo, there was a time they came to a particular center. Okay, yes. They killed people, carted away the equipment the people were using. So the best option, just like he said, would be to consider an arrangement that will make for the election to go on while we subtract a particular area where there is so much challenges. Like I know it's even worse in the north. It's worse in the north. Yeah. You cannot ask anybody to go to there are parts of KB, parts of all of that area. Nobody will risk his life. Even me, if I were to live there, I will not come out on that day. So it's not what it is. Even for the INEC ad hoc staff and the voters themselves, everybody will be challenged going to such areas to vote.
All right, lawmakers in the House of Representatives were yesterday divided over the country's quest for more borrowing. Honorable.
Well, they have told us that the 2023 budget will be funded via borrowing, and they've been borrowing, and the next will be to come and borrow from me. Yes, because we've exhausted virtually everything, every borrowing ability we have. So I don't know where they're going to get this one now. Where we have the capacity to fund our budgets, we have all it takes. Somebody told me, an economist told me that money generated from dead NEPA alone can run this country. But it enters into private pockets. Look at our ports. Money that come from there. Who will account for it? Look at the customs. The crude oil and the oil theft they're telling us. The other day they wanted to crucify P2B for telling us that the theft is an official thievery. And they went to, lampoon him over saying that why it's true. Just like he told us that.
Even the Senate President, mentioned that. Said the government should do something about it. And
Definitely in the high sea, a whole lot is going on. There's a whole lot of government officials and the bourgeois. That's what they're engaging in. That's why, you should wonder how they make all of these monies they throw about during the elections, giving each person $15,000 or $20,000. It is true that means, so it is unaccounted for. So we have the ability, we have the resources, the revenue to fund our budget, to do whatever thing we want to do, to make this place very comfortable. But at the end of the day, because of corruption, because of selfishness, because of ungodliness that has brought us where we are, we can do nothing than to still sing the same old story and the same old song the next day. I wonder, the incoming government, what they are going to do. The next president, if he happens to be their kind of person, will still be here. By this time next year, 2024, a loaf of bread, if you're going to buy a loaf of bread, you go with your checkbook.
But God forbid. God forbid.
So the best thing we have to do is to think now. My party, the PDP, and the ruling party, they are all our friends. When you say vote wisely, vote wisely, we all become
because they know what vote wisely actually means.
So to me, I'm going to vote wisely, even though I'm a practicing politician, I'm a stakeholder in PDP, but I will vote very wisely.
No, but even before you ask that question, I think that actually this government is campaigning for a different party to take over the reins of leadership. Because if you look at what is happening, they've not left anybody in doubt as to their incapacity, their inability to lead Nigeria. If we are talking about, he mentioned about what would be the possible cost of a loaf of bread. Why not talk about what is the value of our naira today, which is where the whole problem is. They were the ones who were attacking Jonathan then. Why should a dollar be exchanged at 200 and something naira? Today, a dollar is at 730 naira. Okay, and we're counting, all right? And then you go to the black market, it's even worse. We're talking about what happens with the bank. So we see a very bleak future if we continue like this. And this is part of what Mr. P2B has been talking about. You don't run a country by borrowing. And we are becoming a consumer nation instead of being a producer nation, which is what Mr. P2B has been saying. If we want to revert this thing, we must turn to become a producer nation. At a time, Nigeria was exporting oil. I think Nigeria was said to be either the third or sixth largest oil producer, among OPEC rating. All right? So, do you know that today, Nigeria imports every petroleum product we use? We used to export not just the crude oil, but we also used to export finished products.
Do you know the irony?
Yeah, but what about our refineries?
Yeah, I'm going there. Yeah? The illegal bunkers.
We have one now in Nigeria Republic.
The illegal bunkers.
Okay, that is true.
The illegal bunkers challenged in one of the interviews on her rights. The illegal bunkers challenged an NPC to tell Nigerians the last time they imported kerosene in this country. That it is them, the illegal bunkers, the illegal refiners, that supplies kerosene to the filling stations.
I have watched that clip.
And nobody has countered it. So look at where we are.
All right. And why would Nigeria have a refinery in Niger? What is wrong with Nigeria? What is wrong with it?
It's not owned by Nigeria.
I know, but it's moving from Nigeria to Niger. So we're asking about what about the 4 refineries we have in Nigeria?
Well, they said that by
Is it cheaper?
by
Is it
10th,
cheaper? Wait, is it cheaper to
Port Harcourt
import
refinery will start functioning.
when they leave?
December 10th.
December 10th. Will us still be here? And I wanted to ask this question: is it cheaper to import finished products into Nigeria than to refine them in Nigeria? Since we have the raw crude and we also have refineries.
Then ask yourself, those crude oils exported to those refineries overseas to refine.
Yeah.
All we hear about is the PMS.
That's
What
what
about
we hear.
other
Products that comes out
so
of it.
nobody accounts for it.
HU and so many of them.
And they're talking about this thing, he mentioned this, we must clear this. If the federal government honestly want to monitor what's going on, they have the capacity. I watched a clip where a gentleman explained this thing, that every ship, especially this one's owned by this naval force, has a system, he called it GPS, that can track any ship that comes into the Nigerian territorial space. They notice these things, they see it, but they don't do anything because it appears the government is compromised.
Yes.
All right, that's Nigeria. President Muhammadu Buhari's media advisor Femi Adesina has expressed his belief that the Igbo presidency in Nigeria will be achieved. If this is coming from the president's aide, and then how many Igbos are in this race?
Yeah,
and,
I like that you said it's coming from the presidential media advisor. The same party that says the Igbo presidency is viable made sure at the what do you call it, the primary elections of APC, that the Igbos were skimmed out. His Excellency Ogbonneonu almost cried at that platform, and he was asking one simple question: where is justice? Where is justice? You see, people talk with their mouth, but their mindset is something else. The same APC that is telling you that Igbo presidency is viable have picked Muslims to run for, the last time we had it during Abiola, it was a different scenario.
Yeah, it was.
It was a different scenario. And they are coming in this 21st century, they are telling us it's viable. And then at the same time, they skew out the Igbos. So, I don't really know who will buy this. What they want to do is to cajole people to vote for APC again, so that, it's just like telling a child, don't worry, when I come back from market, I'll buy you this, so that the child will stop crying. But then there is no commitment to that resolve.
Well, this Honorable Tony, I don't think it's not a holistic statement from APC per se. It is an individual.
But it's a spokesman of the government.
Femi Adesina may be prophesying. You said something, maybe you didn't know when you said that. They may be working
prophecy.
That kind of a thing. What they are doing, the body language of the government, they are like a decibel attitude, not having achieved what you expected of them, is paving way for, a better thing to happen. Yeah. So Femi may be playing safe as a journalist who can also come tomorrow next to interview the next president. So he will say, okay, I said it when I was there. So you never can tell. He may be prophesying. Because with the way APC government has treated Nigerians, I wonder. One clergyman said that by 2003, that is when we know the number of mad people in Nigeria. So what it means is that anybody who will go all through this, suffer all through this, oh goodness me, I have only 2 kids, and I'm passing through hell in the house. I wonder those that have more than 5, what they see, you can imagine. So anybody that comes out to vote for APC this time, to vote for Tinubu this time, my brother, that person should be taken to a psychiatric hospital. The person is not normal.
It's not only those who vote for them. Even those campaigning for them need psychiatric re-evaluation.
The man, you have seen that the man is shaking openly. It's not hidden. It's open. The man is sick. Well, just that he's here to achieve an ambition.
It's your word against the house. They said the other day, a lot of people saw him in a gym house.
When was that video recorded? We saw him.
Do we need to see Tinubu riding bicycle? Do we need to see Tinubu running a 100-meter dash before we know he's healthy? Can't he attend those functions others attend?
Okay.
Can't he? Buhari stood for over 1 hour the other day, handing over the national honors to Nigerians.
Yes.
Can Tinubu do it? Atiku, my party candidate, I don't know. But I'm sure of Tinubu, the man is not healthy. We cannot afford to risk.
Not just Tinubu alone. Tinubu and all his followers, they've assured Nigerians that the man is even stronger than Peter.
Yeah, but ask them, when was that video recorded? Look at the Tinubu you see in that video clip and the one contesting for presidency today. Is it the same person?
Tinubu is Tinubu.
We are waiting or is it, do we need somebody to show that he can dance?
Yes.
Before
we are waiting for Tinubu to crisscross the 36 states of Nigeria and Abuja during the campaign. That's why we are waiting for them.
Probably stand for 30 minutes talking
yes.
without breaking down.
We are waiting.
All right, our time is getting up. Ahead of the 2023 presidential election of the Labour Party has vowed that its flag bearer, Mr. Peter Obi, will succeed President Muhammadu Buhari, stating that Nigerians will jettison the two major political parties, that is PDP and APC.
I think I will align with this opinion because when you look at the narratives and the trajectories that played out in the last 6 months, it does seem that even nature and divinity is in line with what is happening. And one more thing about this is that you see that even nature abhors evil. Nigerians have suffered so much, and Nigerians have been praying and crying to God. Israel in the Bible, God used to allow them small nations that they were bigger to conquer them. But anytime the Israelis had enough time to pray and ask God, God will intervene, and it's called divine intervention. It appears to be what is playing out in Nigeria. If you look at what is happening, this is the first time we have a president or a presidential candidate that people are coming out en masse
on their own,
with their finances,
yes,
collecting anything. Look at the churches for the first time. Look at even the north itself. Yes. Everywhere you go to, you see it's like Peter has a special grace, and you cannot compete with a man who has a divine grace. Doors are opening on their own. Look at all over the world. When they were on October 1st, we were doing this 1 million man march for him all over Nigeria. Even in the UK, they were doing that. All over the world, they are doing the same thing for him. So I think he's riding on a very unusual or unnatural grace, which is coming from above. They said you cannot place his banners on a third mainland bridge. Go there now, do you know what happened? These Labour people, they distribute themselves every day. They will go with their flag. You say we can't put our banners there. We the people, we are the flag.
Come and touch
we are the big boys. Okay? So anything you try against P2B, somebody will come out. They say you know they give shishi. People say, that's the one
we don't want the shishi. Go ahead.
We don't want anybody giving shishi.
That's what I'm saying here.
Okay? You say is this, people will come out. You know, I think that God is involved in this.
Yes.
Maybe as a religious person, maybe it's the typology of the biblical Peter.
Yeah, okay. Peter the wrong. Okay. And another thing, I have contested myself in 2 elections, but then I have never seen or do not know any Nigerian politician that will call for a meeting. People will attend, and as they go, you don't give them cover, and they will come next time you call them.
It has never been possible.
It's not possible. Even the president himself cannot call people if he doesn't give them money.
That's what they're praying for.
They will not come the next time.
Yes.
But see what is happening for P2B. People are bringing their money, their time,
the money
their
sharing and collecting should
expertise.
stop. That's what they're praying for.
He has to stop.
Because they are not looking for change. They are looking for effective change.
Yes.
All right. I'm sure you align with him on that.
Yeah, definitely. P2B is no longer an Eastern project. It's a national project.
Yeah, it's not this is not a form. The terrorists holding 2 daughters and 1 domestic staff of the immediate former accountant general, pastor of Zamfara State, Abubakar Bala, have threatened to turn these girls into criminals if the family failed to oblige them, their request.
The immediate past the accountant general.
Yes.
The man accused of stealing 109 billion. You can see what you are saying. So.
But if he has this money, why are these girls still there?
It's unfortunate. Probably.
They've been there. They've been held there for 4 months.
Yeah,
yes.
But these people understand themselves.
They
understand themselves. I'm sure at the end of the day,
and that is why,
there will be out of court settlement.
Let me tell you, that is why poverty is prevalent in the north. That is, poverty is crawling in the north. They are so-called leaders that has governed this country majorly, more than any other tribe. They don't take these monies home. Go there, you don't see nothing.
That's right.
That's the problem. So in his very village, the man that is alleged to have stolen this kind of money, go to his village. I want to tell you that people there comes to his house to eat. He can't empower anybody, do nothing for them. And out of anger, how can you carry this kind of money? And we are all here hungry. So You have to bring it out.
Are you saying maybe this may be one of the reasons for this, hostage, for this kidnap?
It's not out of place. Like he was saying, we have a situation where the North is actually at the receiving end. What you have is the elites, a very few, and then they will make sure that these other ones don't come up.
They remain hungry.
They like all this, what are they, almajiris and all that, so that you keep, they
being
use,
loyal.
you keep being loyal, they use religion.
Keep them hungry.
To keep them hungry,
If
keep them down.
If you're creative people, you have to remain poor.
Yeah. So, and then you see with what is happening in the nation today, a lot of people are now learning. There's something we can do. Things cannot continue the same way. So they are fighting back. They are trying to see how they can come into what's going on.
One time governor of this state once said that he will never empower his enemy.
Yeah.
And then you ask yourself, what is he empowering his enemy with? Is it his personal money?
And that's their thinking. Because before now, just like I said earlier, those positions are bought. But let's see what happens in 2023, where people will ask you, the contestant, the candidate, okay, hold your money, let us vote our conscience.
All right, our wonderful viewers, we will be coming to the end of this program, Nigeria Today. And I thank God you've been there watching Living TV and also listening to the happenstances in your own country, Nigeria. Today, I'm sure you're also happy with the discussants who have x-rayed most of the topical issues and headlines in Nigeria today. Remember, your Living TV will bring the word first to you. On Saturday, remember, we have a Living TV Club. Come to office at number 1 George Street opposite Ezema Police Station, adjacent to NEPA, and make your inquiries and be part of the moving trend. Yeah, from my far left, I have St. Dennis Obani. St. Dennis Obani, thank you for being part of the program.
It's my pleasure, moderator. Nigerians, let's take back our country.
And Honorable Tony Abany, thank you for being part of this program.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
And wonderful viewers, this is your anchorman, Chinedum Adiele. Keep watching Living TV until we come your way.